Babylon was one of the greatest cities in the ancient world. It was built between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Mesopotamia. The city had tall walls, busy markets, beautiful palaces, and wide streets. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were said to be one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. Some say they were built by King Nebuchadnezzar for his queen, Amytis, who missed the green mountains of her homeland. Others say they were only a legend. This is the story of Babylon, its people, and the lost hanging gardens. Mesopotamia was called the land between two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. It was a fertile land where humans first learned to farm. Villages grew into towns, towns became cities, cities became kingdoms. Babylon was one of the largest cities. It had streets lined with houses, temples, and shops. People wrote on clay tablets using cuneiform, one of the first writing systems in the world. Farmers brought food from the countryside. Merchants sold spices, cloth, and jewelry. The city had strong walls, wide gates, and tall towers. The famous Ishtar Gate was decorated with blue bricks and pictures of lions. Inside, palaces and gardens filled the air with color and life. Babylon was not only a city, it was a world. People came from far away to trade, study, and visit. Nebuchadnezzar II became king of Babylon in 605 BC. He was strong, ambitious, and loved building. He wanted Babylon to be the greatest city in the world. The king rebuilt temples and walls. He built a large palace with tall towers and colorful decorations. He expanded roads and canals, bringing water to the city. Nebuchadnezzar loved his queen, Amytis. She was from Media, a land with cool mountains and forests. She missed her home and often felt sad. The king wanted to make his queen happy. He wanted to create something that would remind her of her homeland. Amytis came from the mountains of Media. She loved green trees, flowing rivers, and the cool air of her homeland. When she moved to Babylon, she felt lonely. The city was beautiful, but flat and dry. She missed the mountains and the forests she had known as a child. Nebuchadnezzar noticed her sadness. He promised to bring a part of her homeland to Babylon. He asked his architects and engineers to design a garden that could float above the city. The queen dreamed of walking among trees and flowers again. She dreamed of hearing water flowing in fountains and birds singing in the branches. The king told his architects, "Build a mountain in the city. Make terraces that rise high in the air. Plant trees, flowers, and vines. Bring water to every level so it looks like the mountain she misses." The architects were surprised. They had never built gardens in the air before. But the king was determined. Workers began building terraces of stone and brick. They created strong foundations to hold heavy soil and large trees. They brought water from canals and built pumps to lift it to the top. It was a great challenge. It required planning, skill, and hard work. But slowly the garden began to take shape. Day after day the gardens grew. Terraces were stacked like steps toward the sky. Columns were carved with lions and bulls, symbols of power and protection. Soil was layered carefully to hold trees and plants. Workers carried exotic trees and flowers from distant lands. Fountains and pools were built to water the plants. The water moved upward with machines powered by slaves turning large wheels. It was a miracle for its time. The hanging gardens became a paradise. Flowers bloomed in many colors. Trees provided shade and fresh air. Birds sang in the branches. Amytis walked in the gardens and smiled. She felt as if she were back home in the mountains. The gardens were full of life. Fountains splashed water into pools. Birds nested in the trees. Flowers spilled over terraces in red, yellow, and purple. The air smelled sweet with jasmine, roses and fruit trees. People in the city admired the gardens from below. Merchants and visitors came to see the green paradise. Children laughed while playing near small fountains. The queen spent hours walking among the terraces. She felt the wind on her face. She touched leaves and flowers. The gardens reminded her of her home. Babylon was more than gardens. It was a city of knowledge, trade, and culture. Markets were full of spices, gold, cloth, and food. Scribes wrote on clay tablets. Temples honored gods like Marduk and Ishtar. Priests studied the stars and predicted the future. Children played in the streets. Merchants told stories of faraway lands. Music and dancing filled the air. The hanging gardens were the heart of the city. They showed the king's power, the queen's love, and human skill. Over time, Babylon faced problems. Kings after Nebuchadnezzar were weak. Neighbors wanted to conquer the city. Conflicts grew inside and outside the walls. The gardens needed care. Water channels could break. Trees and plants needed constant attention. Some say parts of the gardens were damaged by storms or floods. Still, the city remained magnificent. Its walls were strong, its temples tall, and its people proud. Eventually, Babylon fell. Cyrus the Great of Persia attacked the city. He diverted the Euphrates River to enter Babylon easily. The city fell without much fighting. What happened to the Hanging Gardens is a mystery. Some say they were destroyed. Others say they slowly disappeared as gardens were abandoned. No ruins of the gardens have been found. Yet the story of the gardens survived for thousands of years. Travelers, historians, and poets wrote about them. The Hanging Gardens became a symbol of love, beauty, and human imagination. Even today, people talk about the Hanging Gardens. They inspire architects, artists, and gardeners. They remind us that humans can create wonders. The gardens teach lessons about love, imagination, and determination. Though the exact location may be lost, the idea of the Hanging Gardens lives in our hearts. Dreams of green mountains in the desert continue to grow. And every time we build something beautiful, we honor the spirit of Babylon. Babylon and the Hanging Gardens may be lost to history, but their story lives on. They teach us that love can inspire miracles, that human imagination can overcome nature, and that beauty is worth preserving. Thank you for traveling to ancient Babylon. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories of history, wonder, and human courage. Until our next journey, keep dreaming, keep learning, and never stop imagining.